What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another edition of 27 and Q alongside that man right there, two-time Super Bowl champ from the New York Football Giants, the playoff bound New York Football Giants, by the way. Number
Yes.
27,
Be sure
Brandon
to add that in
Jacobs.
every time.
I'm Rich
Every time.
Quinones. Hey, well, yeah, I mean, listen, that's it's been a long time, man. It's been a long time, and they handled their business. They went out, they took care of a bad team, and as I like to say, just when I think I'm out, they pulled me back in.
They
just
came
like
in,
that.
baby. They came in. Let me see.
They played well, man. That's what you do. You take care of a bad team. That's exactly what they did. And I know you and I were a little nervous. I think me so more than you. And you had the one long play by Foles, and after that, they buckled down, they clamped down. The offense, you said they were going to score over what, 26, 27, and
Yeah.
they did.
Welcome back. 38.
Welcome back, Landon Collins. And Jones played well, Saquon played well, and here we go. They're locked in at the 6th seed. So it does appear that they will play Minnesota. There's an outside shot against the 49ers. But right now, I mean, listen, that's a hell of a job by Daboll. And they changed the culture, man. So let me ask you this. Is there any, they're comparing Eli's first couple of years to Daniel Jones's first couple of years, right? Maybe a little apples and oranges because 2005, 11-5, and then the blowout loss at home to Carolina, right? Then 2006, overtime loss in a wild card game against the Eagles. 2007, boom, here you go, the run to the Super Bowl. Can you draw parallels to 2007 to this year's squad, even though you guys were stacked on both sides of the ball? I mean, this team.
Yeah, that's probably why. I mean, everything matches up. Like by barely getting in a wild card, we end up being on the road for every game. We had receivers, man. I think we had a strong receiving core that we were able to match with the running game and the offensive line on offense. Defense, again, getting after the quarterback, not giving much up, very stingy defense. I don't know, man. I mean, the situation is the same, but I can't say that the units are comparable.
Yeah. And I tend to agree because, like I said, 2007, you knew who you can trust and who you can rely on, whether it was on the offensive side or the defensive side.
Right.
This unit, they're void of talent. We know that. And I think that kind of speaks volumes to how well the quarterback has played. Again,
absolutely
efficient, and then he adds almost another 100 yards rushing. I think I told you before the season started, when we were doing our first couple shows, I said, give me 3,500 yards, 22 to 25 touchdowns, and add another 400 to 500 yards rushing. And if you look at his numbers, combined close to 4,000 total yards, and I think 22 touchdowns and just 5 picks. And that's including 700 yards of rushing. So, but we got plenty of time to talk about that. But I wanted to pop you on for a couple moments because of what transpired last night with Damar Hamlin from the Buffalo Bills, the young safety. That game last night against Cincinnati, where he goes down, goes into cardiac arrest. I mean, a couple things that stood out with me. I've watched football my entire life, and I've been covering the sport and doing this for over 20 years. And I've seen boxers get knocked out. I've seen them flat cold. I've seen high school kids get knocked out, college kids get knocked out. I remember many years ago when Dennis Byrd got paralyzed, watching that game with my father when he was with the Jets against Kansas City, which was a fluke play, went for the sack, ran into his helmet, ran into his teammate, head snapped back. And I can't recall ever seeing what I saw last night. And as a fan, it scared the shit out of me because my first thought is this kid going to die on the field? So, you played in the league for close to a decade. You played collision position, by the way. Your first reaction, you're watching that last night. What are you thinking?
Well, I'm thinking, you may have had, he may have shattered his sternum. That's what was going through my mind when I saw the hit. When I originally saw the hit, I'm like, oh, he was high, and the shoulder pads went right into his sternum. Maybe that's what happened, but not taking into consideration what's under there, what's behind the sternum, right? Never really thought about that. So if you have a fracture in your sternum, which is just like it's bones, this is what it is. And with the right pressure, you can break it, and pressure towards it pushes that sternum in towards your heart. I never would have thought that the kid wouldn't get up at the end of the, at the end of the wait. I never thought that he wouldn't get up and walk off the field. I never thought that. But 8, 9 minutes into it, they started talking about performing CPR on the kid. Man, my heart literally just dropped. Like, I couldn't imagine. Once they started doing the CPR, they show all the players on the field crying and doing all the things that were happening, which, rightfully so. That's our brother laying on the ground right there with lifeless at this time. What do you do? Like, I started thinking about my kids immediately, like all the kids I got a relationship with that plays football, and it just a whole lot of things in my mind just started to change, man. And it's crazy, but it's I guess it's a risk we take. And what I always say, with people always start talking about when people start holding out for more money, people are always talking about people, they get paid too much money as it is. I mean, you're going out there for practically war every day. Every time you suit up, is a chance something that can happen to you. You know what I mean? Yeah, I know cops. Everybody want to talk about cops. Cops don't get paid as much. I mean, it's simple, right? You work in high crime places. The property taxes are mad low, so the cops are making mad small, little bit, money. Same with the teachers, right? You go into where a place where the property taxes are high as hell. Schools are much better, and the cops are getting paid the money. 9 times out of 10, the property taxes are high. They ain't got no crime there, right? So when people start talking about, what about cops, or what about this, like, what about that, you got to pick and choose what it is, right? But I'm not saying like people made it like I was trying to say that you don't get paid enough. I didn't say enough. They thought it. Some people say they get paid too much. No, we get paid what it's worth. So we go out there and we suit up, and life is online every time you go out there. No, it may not have happened every time.
Yeah.
It may not happen every time, but Rich, at the end of the day, anything can happen. Like, that hit wasn't even crazy like that. No head was down, no nothing. Just two guys ran into each other, and there you go.
Yeah. Listen, you played the game, so your emotion comes out of it, right? And it's funny you mentioned with the cops, because my father was a cop in New York for 20 years, and he used to tell me, you don't have the temperament to be a cop. It is a thankless job. But I just do remember that. And I think, stuff gets misconstrued, right? You were just basically saying, as a player, and I'm not trying to speak for you, but hey man, this is why, we're gifted. We can only do what a select few can do. So if we have an opportunity to make money, we're going to do it, because it can end in a blink of an eye. And when the kid got back up, it looked like he got shot and he fell back down. And, kudos to the medical staff and the doctors, man, because they saved this kid's life. They brought him back to life. And, now critical condition. So thoughts and prayers go out to this young man, no doubt.
So is that where he's graded at now, the critical condition?
Yeah, they have him in critical condition. They're having, Buffalo came out with a statement that and I just pulled it up, that basically it's just, they're not going to give too much, but hey, so to speak, the kid's a fighter. He's got to fight. I mean, that's kind of where we're at, because you remember, what was it, 8, 9, 10 minutes? They were working on this kid, and I don't even want to think about, I just want to send good juju and good vibes and good prayers.
Yeah, I hope he comes out of it. I hope he comes out of it, man. And whether or not he's able to play football again, or wherever the case is. I just want, man, to come up out of it and be able to live a pretty good life.
Because
man.
everything else is secondary.
Everything else is secondary.
Okay, I mentioned this earlier when I went live, because some people, I don't know, man, it's just they're tone deaf when it comes to this stuff. So I was texting you last night. I was with my boys. We were going back and forth talking about this. And I don't know, the NFL, right? To me, a situation like that, I know when they kept cutting away to ESPN, and I thought for the most part they did a hell of a job. You don't want to speculate and say, let's wait to see if the kid's okay to decide whether we're going to play the game. You're watching that on the field. That's one of your teammates. Basically, they are bringing him back to life, right? You saw the emotion of these players. That's your brother in arms, your foxhole, your trenches guy. How in the world can you say, we're going to give you 5 minutes? This ain't like boxing when a guy gets hit below the belt and you have time to regroup, because how is your focus? How can your focus even be on the play in the moment? It's 100 miles per hour. It's a friggin' violent collision sport. Then all of a sudden you go out there, you're not paying attention because your emotions, you're drained. You're thinking about your friend, your teammate, and all of a sudden your head's not on a swivel and you get knocked on your ass. Like, to me, I just, that did not sit well with me.
Yeah, that game wasn't supposed to be. It shouldn't even thought about that. That game should have been over. You know, when the time hit 3 to 4 minutes, him being down, and it was when they started the CPR, the game should have been over. Not have even thought about being played after that. I'm not playing. I'm going to the locker room and I'm never coming out. I'm not going to play.
That's what I wanted to ask you, like whether it was McDermott and the Bills or Cincinnati or joint effort. I mean, you would have loved for the commissioner to just get on the phone once that kid's driven off in the ambulance to say, that's it. But again, you know, you always, what do you always bring it back to? They don't want to lose a game. They don't. I was explaining to my friends, they were like, they kept going back to ESPN and the state. You can only say so much in a situation like that, right? You're sitting there at the desk and someone's like, Brandon, what are you thinking right now? Well, as a player, your thoughts and prayers are with his family. What more can I say? Like, nobody knows. I mean, you're like stunned, you're in shock. So I was explaining to a lot of people that, look, man, they don't want to take the eyeballs. As horrible as it sounds, we go to other programming and check back with us in 20 minutes. You've lost that audience.
Oh, that audience is done. Yeah, they're gone.
It's like a car.
But Rich, soon as the ball kicked off last night, everyone had. As soon as it kicked off, everyone got paid. Who was supposed to get paid? So no reason to play the game anymore. You got your whatever your ratings is at the time. You got your money.
Yeah,
you're done. Just cancel the damn game and let's see if this kid's okay. And maybe we can play it at some point during the week or whatever.
They don't want to lose they don't want to lose the advertising dollars. You cut to commercial, you come back, you fit it in, you've got a window to get in X amount. And you said it. If someone would have said, hey guys, if someone would have went up to you and Amon and Strahan and Tuck and OC and Eli say, you know, hey, start stretching. We're going back out there in 10 minutes. Would you have played?
I've been like, you stretch, you go out there. I'm done. We're not going back out there. The game is over for us. I'm on the way to the hospital, actually. Bye. That's me.
So I have to ask, and I hate asking these questions. How does a game like that last night, if they decide they're not going to resume the game this week, okay, and obviously it's a huge game because it has playoff implications and seedings. So okay, like logistically, what do you do? Like how do you fit this game in, right? Because my thinking is, okay, if you make it a Thursday game, okay, then it's
turn around and play Sunday.
That's exactly what and you can't do that because we push for player safety, do we not?
Yeah, and that's not enough time.
Then how is really Sunday to Thursday enough time when you think about it? That's why the quality of game on a Thursday night sucks, because your body has not had time to recoup.
Yeah, you're right.
Monday,
I mean, I agree. I do. I agree 100%. Thursday game, when they started the Thursday night game, I thought it was kind of like really Thursday night. That's such an odd time of week to play a football game, and from your previous game if you played that Sunday, But I don't know, man. I don't like the Thursday night games because there's not enough time to get prepared from one game to another.
yeah, no, either do I just think this is probably their worst case scenario. And I know, again, you hate to say it, and we've said it for the last several years, what's it going to take for explain again to the audience that that was just a fluke play, man. This is not like back in the day, Jack Tatum, Daryl Stingley,
No,
Avantez Burfict, that guy was a headhunter. We're not talking about a guy going across the middle, the quarterback leading in
no, it wasn't none of
touchdowns.
that. I mean, it was strictly a harmless hit. There's two guys running into each other. I think Higgins was stumbling I think he was stumbling out of a broken tackle, I think, or something like that. And the head was down, the shoulder was down, and Hamlin came up a little high, reaching, and the helmet got inside of the breastplate, and one man going one way, another one coming this way, and that's what it was. I think the pounds of pressure, whatever it was, in between the two men, shocked the heart and sent them into cardiac arrest.
So this is what you played with him, because you said you got your bell rung when Bart Scott hit you. He basically said he thought he brought up the wide receiver that Hamlin tackled, which was Higgins. He didn't believe he was prepared for the way Higgins ran into his body, and more specifically his chest.
He wouldn't. I mean, you blink of an eye, he was right on him.
Okay, so he, quote, right before the tackle, Higgins lowers his helmet and he kind of throws his body into Hamlin's chest, Scott began to explain. He's standing up because he's thinking he's got to chase T. Higgins at an angle to make a tackle. So he didn't expect T. Higgins to launch his body back into him. It's one of those things you see as a linebacker. So people are interpreting that it was an illegal hit. It looked shoulder, though.
That's what it was. I mean, lunching back into him. Like, I remember Gerald Ingram, my running back coach, he tells us, when you run out of bounds and you got a defender chasing you toward out of bounds, you put your foot on the ground, you lean back into him. Lean back into him. Oh, he went shoulders to him, then he saw me, he went downhill at him, because you get more yards going forward with a forward lean than anything. The guy did not mean to do it. He did not mean you out playing football. It's a reaction sport. All the rules and all the stuff that these people are talking about is killing the sport. And it makes people like Higgins look crazy. Like, even though we know, and it's a damn shame for a guy who played the game to blame his kid for something like that, when really, come on, like, man, I like Bart. He's a good dude, but I don't think you place blame on the guy for a situation like that just went down. There's two guys playing a reaction game, a gladiator sport, and that's what happened. He didn't mean to do it. It wasn't no ugly shot. It was just, he was high and he took the most of it into his chest. And this is where we are now, all here talking and hoping this kid is okay.
Yeah. But does it make you as a father be worried now going forward? Or, as you said, because it's, you've got kids that play, you played at the highest of high levels, or was last night just one of those you never wished that upon? And remember, this kid's family, his mom, this kid was a 6th-round draft pick out of Pittsburgh, right? He wanted to stay in Pittsburgh because I believe he's got a younger sibling, wanted to be a role model, does the charity, by all accounts, a good kid, could have played anywhere. Monday Night Football, here we go, huge game, family there. And then to see this, it's just, it's gut wrenching, man. Does it make you kind of?
Yeah, but for me, it scared me. It scared me when I, immediately start thinking about my kids. But we played a game in this house, knowing the risk that there is. and I tell them all the time, whenever you feel like you don't want to play anymore, just tell me. This is a risk with the game, right? This can happen playing this game, right? This can happen playing this game, right? Yep. You still want to play this game? Yep. Shit, let's go get it. So if that were to happen to my kids, I will be torn apart, right? Because I had opportunity to stop him from playing. But we can't live in fear either. We can't live in fear either. I mean, that's just something he wanted to do. So this is what we did. Forbid anything happened to him, but if something were to happen to him, we knew the risk. We knew the risk, so that's my take on it. But I definitely couldn't understand why one would say, no, I need your helmet, I need your shoulder pads, and I need your football to be in my room on the bed, and you are never to touch it again. I would get that as well.
But how about when you played? Yeah, I mean, you played one of the most violent position. When I think of the running back position, I think of the linebacker. It's constant contact, man. Like,
Rich, I was in college, man. Okay, let me tell you, I was in college at Auburn at the time. We went to Nashville to play against Vanderbilt. I was the number 4 or 5 on the kickoff team. It was then they were running back making these wedges, holding hands, making these wedges.
that's right.
The fullback, tight end type players, right? And it was a triangle wedge. And I'm talking about shoulders over knees, full speed. The wedge was supposed to take care of the 4, 5, 4, 5, 5, 4, right and left. So everyone else just kind of spread out and and they got the other 8, the other 7 guys.
Yeah.
While the wedge were for us. So I'm going downfield, Rich. I'm talking about full speed. I'm talking about 4'4", 265 pounds, going down. And I ran into the head of the wedge, and I buckled the whole wedge. Full speed, him full speed, I'm full speed. I was just a bigger, faster, stronger man. I hit him, and he just dropped. He dropped. They stopped the game for 15 minutes.
Wow.
And I saw them taking his face mask off. I honestly thought the kid was dead. But he had, I think he might have had a really bad concussion and some sort of neck injury. He never played again. I felt like shit. Like whatever, if shit had a feeling, it was me that day. And it was, I thought his life was over. I wasn't sure how I was going to be able to continue playing football once, if I would have been a part of something like that.
How were you
mentally, it destroyed me.
Were you able to, tough to gain your, I mean, you're a young kid at that time, right? Gain your.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a young kid at the time, and they picked him up on the stretcher and put him in the back of the ambulance and rolled him out. Same thing that kind of happened last night. Put him in the back of the ambulance and kind of rolled him out. It was keeping us up. We started the game, which rightfully so. Then we should have started the game because nobody was performing CPR. We know the kid hadn't died because no one was trying to bring him back. Got him up off the field. We stretched out and went back and played the game. But I was torn apart, man, and it was something hard for me to deal with. But they were letting us know every step of the way. So by the time the game was over, we kind of knew how the kid was doing, and everything went back to normal.
Wow, that's unreal, man. That's what I'm saying. There's always the two sides, right? Because you think today Higgins is waking up, and it's not weighing on his mind. It's like that. It's like survivor's remorse, right? I mean, he's probably constantly replaying that play over and over and over.
If Higgins is anything like a lot of guys I know, he's probably at the hospital.
Yeah.
He's probably there, just sitting there by himself. He's probably there just waiting to see what happens. And, and the part of it, it's just, it sucks, man. It's not a great situation. But to say he did it, blame it on him is that's absurd, man, and that's 100% out of line for anybody to say.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think we saw some really first class reporting last night under dire circumstances, and we also saw some of the most piss poor, deplorable, despicable, just asinine thoughts and takes. I mean, I'm not a soft guy by any stretch of the imagination, but you have to have a little sentiment. You have to have a little humility, right? Let's not just say it so all of a sudden it comes back on us. I mean, it's just tone deaf, man. Like it's just, and we talked about this, I mean, and I don't want to make it about him because I don't want to give him the airtime, but you got a guy like Skip Bayless out there who's got a
Skip's a
following.
Skip's a fucking soft dick, man. That's what he is to me. Skip is a soft dick. You can't do anything with him. He's a fucking asshole. He said way too much over the past couple months. Where he's like I said, man, guys, you can't do shit with him. He's a soft dick.
But what's interesting is that Shannon Sharp doesn't show up this morning to do the show. But the issue is now FS1 Suits, I don't think they're panicking. They're probably loving it because they know eventually it's going to draw what? More viewers and more eyeballs.
Mm-hmm.
I guess my point is, social media is such a friggin' cesspool, right? But
Right.
out of this, if you go on Twitter, and I told you I'm in Twitter jail because of what I tweeted back at Skip. I should be out of jail, hopefully, by the time we're wrapped up. But and my whole thing was, look, I've seen someone get administered CPR. I've seen it up close. It is an outer body traumatic experience, and the image does not go away. So I'm very sensitive to that kind of stuff. But out of all this kid had, I guess, a toys foundation for kids, and his goal was to raise $2,500. It's raised over $4 million. And I believe some of the merchandising places now, with his jersey being sold, they're going to give 100%. I hope some of that money goes to his family. If you go on social media, every team in the NFL changed their profile pic to number 3. There is good in that, but man, I'm telling you, B, I'm privileged to be able to do this with you because, I'm a diehard Giants fan. I love the Giants. You cut me open, the blue comes out, and you were one of my favorite players. So for me to be doing this with you, it's an honor. Like, I don't take it for granted. And to hear your insight and a player's perspective, it's worth the price of admission. So, when you and I are talking and you see what some of these talking heads on TV say, I'm sure you and other players, and you dealt with it in your career, you're probably thinking to yourself, the fuck is this guy talking about?
Yeah, man.
Like,
it's heartbreaking to see some of these guys sit up there and say some of the things that they're saying. But here you got a guy, but here you got tons of guys trying to get jobs there. But those are the guys that they want, man. And it's crazy that sit up and have the type of heart that they have. And it's a lot, man. I mean, Skip, man, I'm just tired of him, man. It's just, like I said, he's always try to find the lows of someone when someone's on his ass. He tried to find the lows of them. Like, if I talk shit about Skip or say something about who's Brandon, he did. Yep, I'm an average guy who played running back for the Giants. I got the touchdown record with the Giants. I got 2 Super Bowls. Yeah, I may have underachieved maybe just a little bit, but Skip Bayless, that does not change you a fucking dick, a soft one. You're an asshole. You need to be drugged in the alley and your ass need to be beat. And I mean that.
oh man, see, that's why sometimes I just crank it up and there you go, right?
Yeah, man, he's a whole lot for me, man. It's crazy.
When you played and these shows started to really come in their own, did you and your teammates just be like, yo, man, do you hear what this guy or the guy on the radio or the guy in Prince writing about me or saying, or were you guys just like laughing it off in the locker room?
No, we don't laugh it off. We kind of laugh it off with each other and can't believe the person said it. But when we see that person take a step in that locker room with a microphone in their hand, you scare them. You talk shit to them and make them like.
You don't just cut them off. You don't just cut them off.
No, I walk up. I remember that shit you said last week. I remember I slapped the shit out of you. Type shit. Or why you want to see all the cameras start to come on? Like,
Have
no,
you ever had that?
I'm not giving y'all that much. I just want to let them know that you missed it.
Have you ever had that situation before?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I have with the New York Post. Wrote some shit about me, and I called them on it. Like, well, shut up, man. I ain't gonna do you nothing. Calm down.
I was gonna say they don't know how much of a teddy bear you are.
Shut up, man. Calm down. I'm not gonna do anything. Don't piss on yourself right here. All right. Go get some napkins and dry your eyes. I'm not gonna do you anything.
Oh
You know?
man.
But the guys are, man, Skip, I'm done with Skip, man. I hope Shannon is done with him too. And I hope Shannon asks for another host, man. And let Skip just be by himself, man. Because I don't think nobody, white, black, green, purple, whatever, I don't think nobody's gonna agree with Skip.
Yeah, but you know this. There are guys, like I said, everyone's got trigger points, right? You push, you poke. It's calculated. You know what to say, and I don't mind poking the bear. I don't mind having an opinion. I don't mind trying to poke and pry you to get you to say something, and you do the same to me.
Right.
My point is, there's decorum. There's a time and a place for, like, I didn't need to see on my Twitter feed people worried about fantasy football last night or
Yeah.
bets. I mean, I'm just saying, call me, I don't care. I'm not soft. You want to call me soft, call me soft. I know I'm not. It's just, there's humility. There's, you know, you got to have a little heart with this kind of stuff, and you got to be respectful. And it's unfortunate that it's not the world that we live in, right? Do you think this affects, say, Buffalo going forward, man? How are you able to kind of get up and just go back to work?
I'm going to say this. Buffalo's a good football team, and we all know that. This could be something that lights a fire under their team. It's an unfortunate situation. I get it. A guy is fighting for his life right now. But the unfortunate thing about this situation, you just can't cancel the team and take them out of the postseason and move on and put somebody else there and let them deal with what's going on within their organization. You can't just do that. No one is going to agree with doing that. I think they're going to play, and I think they're going to be the team that we thought Buffalo would be at the beginning of the year.
Yeah,
I got Buffalo going all the way.
Rally around this, yeah. All right, pal. I know we'll get into a lot more of the Giants and the games tomorrow. I will ask you this before I let you get out of here, and I appreciate always a couple moments. The sentiment this week is that they should rest the players. You can marinate on it. We can talk a little more about it later in the week. The line right now is basically saying that they're going to rest players. I want to get into it a little more when we talk again, but at first glance, you know, do you think the Giants should rest the players?
I don't, because with the Vikings win, and the Giant loss
they're locked in. They're not moving anywhere at 6. My point is,
yeah, but the Vikings can move. The Vikings can move, and San Francisco can move.
Correct.
Right. So if they can beat I think if they can beat the Eagles, and well, I guess we don't control what goes on the other side. So I don't say rest them though. I don't agree with that. I think you got to play, and I think you got to keep momentum going.
That's the argument I've had with people thus far, right? But my counter is, look at the wide receiver position. They're thin, right? I mean, as crazy as it sounds, can you lose a Hodgins right now or a Richie James? You really can't.
You can't, because we already thin, but you want to sit your starters out a week and let and let the heart rate go down. I don't think you want to do that either.
So when you guys decided, hey, we're playing it through, that was a situation where you wanted to be.
Oh, we didn't decide that. Coach Kaufman said, "Hey, why not us?
Yeah,
you want to come in and try to go in the field?"
That's what I mean. Yeah.
What the hell is it? Why are we going to sit? They're in too. They're going to play. Why can't we go out and play? Because Think we're gonna sit because we're in? I said, the hell with it. I said, we go, I'm gonna kick their ass. I said, let's go. Now, some of the guys were pissed off about it because they needed to rest. But we went out there and gave it everything we had, man, and it gave us momentum going into the postseason. The Vikings are one of the top teams in the NFC.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry, the Eagles are the top team in the NFC, right? So we go and play against the Eagles, who's, by the way, lost the last 2 weeks.
Yep.
Jalen Hurts is out.
Yep.
Right. They have nothing to gain by playing him. So is a chance that we can go and play against a team without their starting quarterback that we need to beat.
Well, the irony now is they need to maybe play him because Minshew's not getting the job done. But if they win that game, they get home field advantage. That's a major factor. So you get to bye, you get rest, you win a divisional playoff game, you're hosting the NFC Championship. So, and I think it might be a pitch count kind of thing. Let's see how the game unfolds. If the line's cracking a little and Daniel's getting hit, but to your point, when you guys did it in 2007 and Coughlin said, hey, we're going for it, because you had an opportunity also at history, but ultimately there was a little blueprint there, right? Because now you've got familiarity and you saw them a couple weeks later in Arizona.
Mm-hmm. And we know they won, and we know that they didn't want to play us again second time around. That's one team that did not want to see us in the Super Bowl, was the New England Patriots. And goddamn it, they seen us anyway, and they felt what it was like to play us that time. So, I mean, I'm okay either way if Coach Dable, if he rests the guys, but I want to see him go and try to at least split with Philly. I mean, I just want to see that. I mean, because right now we got to win against Washington and a tie with Washington.
That's right.
Every other game in the division we've lost.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I mean, I would like to go out and try to get this win.
Yeah,
make your division rank look a little bit more respected.
Yeah, and you're right, and you get some momentum, and it'll be interesting to see how they play this close to the vest. You got a young coach, you got a young GM, change of culture. Maybe they might say, hey, we're in, let's rest. We'll take it from there. But you're right. Part of me is like, go out, give the Eagles, if you can prevent the Eagles from getting home field advantage, that's great.
Yeah, if you're the team that can make that happen as a rival, that's all you want.
Yeah.
Even if you were in the playoffs, weren't in the playoffs, and you sucked, absolutely try to go out and spoil that shit.
Yeah. All right, brother. Hopefully I won't, when I post this up, you and I won't be in a Twitter jail again.
Hey, man. I didn't say it on Twitter, though. Whatever I said on this, I didn't say it on Twitter.
That was my mistake. Rookie mistake. Said it on Twitter. Yeah, well, sometimes the emotions come out a little bit, man. I'm a little fiery. Sometimes,
I'm with you, man.
It is what it is. It is what it is. So, all right, brother. Say as you do. Say,
hey, everybody. Hey, enjoy the new year. Hope everybody got what they want for Christmas. Be safe. Have good humanities. Take care of your neighbor. Do whatever you got to do to take care of your family. Make sure everybody around you is safe. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. Yes, sir. No, sir. And please and fucking thank you. You guys have a good one. 27 and Q.
For the two-time Super Bowl Number 27, Brandon Jacobs. I'm Rich Quinones. Appreciate everyone keeping us locked in. Check us out on YouTube. We'll tweet this out, and we'll do it again certainly this week. Appreciate you, B.
Got you, brother.
All right.